Once upon a time, there was this guy named Sergio who lived in a house shaped like a J.
And every morning, he woke up to feed the chickens.
But one morning, the chickens were gone.
So he panicked, ran outside, and said, "Why, God? Why?"
And so then the town bitch comes over and slaps him over the head, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up, Sergio."
And he's like, "God, Judith, you're so mean. I love those chickens. They give me chicken and they give me eggs."
And so she said, "Wait, was your chicken brown and white?"
And he says, "Yeah, that's Clementine, my favorite chicken of all. Have you seen her?"
She's like, "Oh, well, I heard you screaming and I ran over on my way over."
And she confessed, "Well, I had fried chicken last night. Sorry."
And so he gets down on his knees and bawls like a little bitch and continues saying, "God, why? Why, God, why?" and pounds at the floor.
And Judith, standing next to him, is laughing like a maniac, utterly amused by his pain at the loss over his favorite chicken, Clementine. Clementine, my apologies.
So Judith went back to her house, opened the fridge, grabbed the leftovers, and made it presentable and gave it to him. And he saw Clementine on the plate.
Horrified, he starts throwing up and takes Clementine into his arms and rocks her. "Clementine, I'm so sorry. You're a good chicken." And then he walks back into his J-shaped house and rips open his favorite stuffed chicken animal, because he just loves chickens. His house is decorated with just chickens everywhere. So he takes the stuffing out, puts Clementine inside of it, sews it back up, and falls asleep.
That's a run-on sentence.
I was like thinking, I'm like, it's the longest sentence.
Falls asleep. I am not a native English speaker, kiss my ass. Okay,
there's like 37 semicolons in this sentence. No problem.
He falls asleep, clutching this stuffed animal Clementine in it, and sobbing, and sobbing, and sobbing.
One night, while clutching Clementine
and sobbing,
decides there's only one thing left to do. She will be avenged. So he begins plotting on how will avenge his dear chicken.
So he pulled out,
hopefully not his dick. Sorry, keep going.
I forgot where we are.
Song.
What am I doing?
They're just sampling it. Anyway. So he pulls out, hopefully not a Clementine. Okay, go.
I forgot where we are. You keep talking. So he pulls out an easel with a sketchboard on it, and he starts drawing pictures like Pictionary as his plan. He drew Judith first with her head on the floor.
Meanwhile, Sergio is plotting revenge on Judith. Judith, in her W-shaped house, is sitting at home happily that she ate Clementine because Clementine didn't escape. She stole Clementine and ate her because she was jealous that Sergio only loved the chicken and not her, because she's secretly in love with Sergio. So she's like, finally Clementine's out of the way, I can have Sergio to myself.
So she's sitting at home thinking of her next move. She's like, now that I've gotten Clementine out of the way, how will I make him mine? How will he become mine? Little does she know, he's at home drawing pictures of how he's going to murder her. Period.
So Judith calls up Sergio and invites him over to her house for a cup of tea.
And Sergio, although, he hates Judith because she ate his beloved chicken, agrees to having tea with her because he is going to execute his plan for revenge.
So he gets dressed up and he heads over to the W-shaped house.
So Judith opens the door, invites Sergio in, right after she had dropped a white powder into his cup of tea.
Sergio walks in and takes a seat on her couch. Judith walks over and caresses his face and says, "Have some tea, my dear." And so Sergio Because he's so nervous, says, fuck it, I'm gonna have some tea. Because it's chamomile and that's soothing. So he takes a sip.
And then he asks Judith if she has any crackers to go with the tea. She says, of course, I'll be right back. He goes into the kitchen. And while she's gone, he puts something into her mouth.
Man, this just turned into like a Romeo and Juliet.
Dance break! So, when Judith came back out and sees that Sergio is passed out on the floor, she drags his body to her bedroom and plops him on her bed and takes off all his clothes.
And then she proceeds to shave him of all his body hair because she likes clean-shaven men.
Exhausted from all of the shaving, she takes a sip of her own tea and returns to the bedroom and her new, cleanly shaven, silky smooth Sergio.
So she proceeds to climb on top of him and she makes love to him, but the poison kicks in and she dies on top of Sergio's body right before he wakes up.
Wait, did she die or pass out?
No, he tried to poison her.
Yeah, she's dead.
But she just
only
wanted to drug him so
her.
that she could ravish his body.
Okay, so Sergio wakes up and he's like, what the fuck? Pushes Judith off his naked, hairless body. And he's like, what the fuck? Where's all my pubic hair? He walks over to the mirror and he's like, hey, it looks bigger. Right on. Maybe this Judith wasn't a dumbass after all. And then he does a little 70s disco dancing with his wang out.
Sergio, thrilled at his discovery that his wang is larger and that the evil bitch Judith is dead, renewed zest for life. And the next day he goes out and he gets himself a new chicken.